The Roanoke City Council recess session for April 26, 2022 is hereby called to order, and I will ask our clerk, Ms. Susan McCord, to please call the roll.
Mr. Cobb?
Here.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Here.
Ms. Price? Ms. Sanchez Jones?
Here.
Vice Mayor White Boyd?
Here.
Mr. Bestfitch?
Here.
And Mayor Lee?
Here, and a quorum is present. Ms. Price is not able to be with us this evening. I will do the invocation tonight, and I'll also lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd ask everybody to stand as we have our invocation. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come to you at this appointed time to first and foremost to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity that you've given us, and thank you for all the many blessings that you've provided us. And Lord, we ask you tonight as elected and appointed officials to guide and direct us as we go forth. And Father, we ask that we conduct this meeting in a manner that's pleasing to you. We give you praise, we give you honor, and we give you glory. It is in your Son's name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, there may be some seats here in the section and some seats down front a little bit. You know, we sometimes build up here in council as though we're in church. The seats up front are pretty much vacant and we fill up from the back up, but there's some seats up here for those of you that are interested in sitting down. Welcome and to tonight's public hearing, which will be televised live and replayed on RVTV Channel 3 on Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. and video stream through Facebook Live at facebook.com/Roanoke VA. Council meetings are offered with closed captioning for the deaf or hard of hearing. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to conduct two separate public hearings. One is a recommended budget for the city for fiscal year 2022 and 2023 at 7 p.m. and as soon thereafter as a matter may be reached. Item number 2 is a proposed real estate tax rate increase at 7:10 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached. So, City Council set aside time for citizens to comment on the fiscal year 2021-2022 appropriations of funding from the General Assembly Fund assigned fund balance and the increase of fiscal year 2021-2022, local tax and other revenue estimates, and appropriations of funding. A public hearing on the matter will be held at a future council date. And now there will be no comments or action taken by council on any of these matters this evening. Our purpose is to listen to you. And that's what we're going to be doing. And I hope you signed up. Have people signed up? Yes. All right. Let me say that this meeting tonight is an opportunity for us to hear comments from the public regarding the increase of the FY 22 local tax and other revenue estimates and appropriations of funding. Also, proposed FY23 budget and an FY23 tax rates. And so this will not be dealing with discussions or any decisions by council that will come at subsequent meetings, May 2nd and May 9th for the FY23 budget, and June for the FY22 items. Now, at this time, I'm going to ask our city manager if he would share some information with you regarding our discussions tonight and the budgets.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and at the risk of being somewhat repetitive, just so everybody understands what we're doing here. So there are 3 items on the agenda this evening, and again, Council will receive comments from the public on each of these. There's no presentation by staff on any of these 3, so this is just to sort of set the stage for what the conversation is. As is mentioned, the first item will deal with the increase in FY22 local tax and other revenue estimates and appropriation of funds. Obviously, that is mostly attributed to increases in personal property tax revenue, so that's what that item will be focused on in terms of comments. The second item, as mentioned, is the recommended FY23 budget, which, as a reminder, is a balanced $324,789,000 budget, which represents a 5.6% increase over the FY22 approved budget, as well as the recommended tax rate. And as just for clarification, because I know that the legally required ad for it is never clear, the recommended budget retains the current tax rate. In other words, there are no increases proposed associated with the tax rate. We are proposing adoption of the effective tax rate. And that, again, ties to the balanced budget that I mentioned. As has already been stated, each of these items will be discussed further by the council at later dates, where there will also be action taken on each of these. In the case of the FY23 budget, council will discuss further next Monday. That's your budget study, where you'll talk in kind of a workshop format on items that you wish to discuss further on the FY23 budget, and then we'll act on the recommended budget and associated tax rate on Monday, May 9th. In the case of the FY22 revenue estimate and appropriation, it is anticipated council will discuss this further and act in June. This will be after the receipt of personal property tax bills, as well as and the revenue associated with that, and prior to the availability of the new state code enabling refunding of surplus revenues, which does not go into effect until July 1. So just a little bit of background on what the items are for this evening. And with that, Mayor, it is up to you to begin the process for the comments. So, thank you.
Okay, I hope everybody understands that what we've just shared. And I'm going to call on the clerk to introduce the speakers. Probably, Madam Clerk, given what I assume is the number, if you do it maybe 3 at a time,
Okay.
just call 3 and then we'll go back into the next 3. And everybody's going to be given 3 minutes.
That's right.
3 minutes now. When that horn goes off there, you'll know that your time is up. And I ask that you end it at that time, or if you're in the middle of a sentence or a statement, go ahead and finish that. But we want to stay close to the 3-minute timeline as we can. All right, Madam Clerk.
Okay, our first 3 speakers will be Octavia Johnson, Lois Caleri, and Vivian Holland.
And this is a public hearing recommending fiscal year 2022-2023 City of Roanoke budget. And I will,
Mayor, this is actually the comments on the FY22 items. That's the first item.
all right, FY 2022, and I'll open the public hearing, and the clerk has introduced the speakers, and we'll go forward. All right? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Sherman Lee and members of City Council. I am Octavia Johnson, a resident of the City of Roanoke at 3968 Park Lane Southwest. I am here to address the increase of the Roanoke City personal property tax. We, the taxpayers, were blindsided by the actions of this City Council when you increased the personal property tax without warning. The members of City Council have a responsibility to the citizens of Roanoke to look out for our best interest and not to take advantage of the citizens. In case you have forgotten, it was the citizens of Roanoke that elected you to serve. For promotion cometh not from the east, nor the west, nor the south, but God is the judge that putteth down one and setteth up another. The citizens of Roanoke elected you to represent their best interest. Members of this council knew in advance that the personal property tax could increase up to 51%, depending on your vehicle. As you were elected by the citizens of Roanoke, I believe that you had the responsibility to inform us of this increase, as you did with the 5-cent bag tax and the increase in our real estate tax. In your discussion, you chose not to show mercy, but to take advantage of, and I quote, of this one-time windfall. The truth is, you were not taking advantage of a windfall. You are taking advantage of the citizens of Roanoke who voted for you. Members of this council chose to take advantage of the citizens of Roanoke during a time of rapid inflation. The citizens needed a form of tax relief and not to pay more taxes. I would like to thank Councilman Moon for wanting to look out to give some form of relief to the citizens of Roanoke. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Lois Caleri? No.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. I could probably use 10 minutes to say what I want to say, but I'll give you the highlights in 3 if I can. First, I wholeheartedly agree with Councilwoman Stephanie Moon Reynolds, who said that more could have been done to buffer the impact on this increases with the personal property tax on residents. So I say thank you for having that thought. Now, I read where once a resident pays this tax, and if they feel that that tax was unfair, they could reach out to the council to try to convince them to get a rebate. That sounds good in theory, but my questions are, what criteria do you have in place to determine whether someone gets a rebate or not? And also, there are a lot of people who may not have the wherewithal or the knowledge to know that they even have this opportunity to come to council. So I would hope that you, the elected representatives for us, will take that into consideration. I would like to see at some point obtain a budget for the roads. I would like to see the school budget. And I say that because it was reported that the money collected from this tax would be used to fix potholes. And the same is true for cash infusion headed to the schools. My question, or my questions, are these. If this was to come to pass, is there anything in writing that determines which school would get money? Second, and equally important, is if a school does receive this cash infusion, will the school be held accountable for how they spent that money? We need to bring accountability back to the table. The last thing is, if I have this number incorrect, please correct me, that Roanoke received $64.5 million in post-pandemic help. If that number is correct, then why can't some of that money, and I realize that hasn't been decided yet on where the money will go. I think there's a hearing coming up to decide that or to get input, but let's look at to see if any of that money can be used for the schools and the roads. Now, in this yellow sheet that we received when we got our bills, which was sticker shock for all of us, it said that because of the supply shortage in the vehicle market across used and new vehicles, that caused this, even though the tax rate did not change, it caused the values of the vehicles to go up. I have to stop. Thank you so much.
Finally, it's my turn. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Lee, council members, city manager, Tim Spencer. My name is Vivian Holland, and I reside at 3801 Red Fox Drive in Roanoke, Virginia. I've lived in the beautiful Star City of the South all my life. I love my city. Most of the time, I love my council members and my city manager and my city attorney. But when decisions are made like this, I'm like, what did they do, fall and bump their head before they went into the meeting? I mean, did you not take into consideration, we're in a pandemic, people have lost their jobs. You have people that are on fixed incomes. Now, that doesn't pertain to us, me included, you know. I can afford it, but not everybody can afford it. And why not do like Roanoke County? Give your citizens some relief. Have a heart. I know y'all have a heart. I know you do. Because if you didn't, I wouldn't have voted for you. Okay? You gotta do better. Please. Roanoke County did it. And Roanoke County gets money from the state just like we get money from the state for our roadways. And I beg of you, please consider giving the citizens of Roanoke City a rebate. And I pray that you will. Thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you. And the next two speakers, Alton, Aiken, and James Thomas.
I'm Alton Aiken. My wife is Sarah. We live at 1607 Red Oak Lane. And I voted for you, Miss Moon, because I thought you had a pretty name, Moon. We'll see you later. This house has stayed in the family on 1607. There was only two homes on that hill of Red Oak Lane. My great-grandmother and great-grandfather owned that house. They lived in a log cabin before they built the house in 1951. This house was only $40,000. It was built as much as they could build. It wasn't like the new homes with big bathrooms, big hallways. It was just adequate for what they had. Y'all gave me some comparisons. City gave me some comparisons on my home. I had to do y'all's the comparisons the city gave me. There is no comparisons. I had to look in on a lot of houses to try to figure out was there any comparisons. I couldn't find but maybe one, and that was on one street over. Our house is all wood house, and all the other homes were all brick. Updated since new homes since 1971. So I did my own investigation. Like I said, I couldn't find any more that matched. So I started looking. Something gave me an idea to look at the 5 homes on our block. They were brick homes. They were nice. They were bigger. But what I noticed is a broken system. Y'all's tax assessment department can't keep up with what people have on their property. No swimming pool. They have swimming pools. They have all this stuff like 1-floor buildings. And they don't have they have two-story buildings. It's not listed. Y'all are losing thousands of dollars on these homes and y'all are trying to mess with the fire department and everything on their budget? Yeah, right. Okay. I feel like somebody's getting away with paying their tax, and y'all's tax assessment department is flawed, because you won't hire nobody in your tax assessment office to update the records, what's going on. I say y'all need to budget what you have. You just can't keep spending money like you're doing. You need to budget what you have, and try that for once in your life, because it keeps going up.
City Council, Mayor Lee, my name is James Thomas. I'm a longtime resident of the city, 15 years. I used to own the business, Food Prep Service Roanoke. Many of you know me from there. Ms. Sanchez-Jones, your son is a dear friend of mine, so please ask him about my character after my remarks. Ms. Moon Reynolds, thank you for standing up for the citizens of this city, which you were sworn to do. Vice Mayor White Boyd, this is not a boon or a windfall. This is a burden placed squarely on the shoulders of the citizens of this town. And as elected officials, I would like to remind you it is your sworn duty to represent us. If you must look to a boon or a windfall to repair your roads, the roads that we pay for with our taxes, that are in such a state of disrepair they require alignments, strut, and shock fixes, then I must say that is an utter lack of competence at your job and the ability to budget the money you are taking from the citizens. Taxes do not create money. They are money taken, not money produced. Everyone else here has said exactly what I would plan on saying, so I can wrap this up simply. The county has decided to double the state's tax relief for the citizens of the county. And I would encourage the council members, the mayor, and the vice mayor to follow suit, representing the citizens they are sworn to do, and take care of them, or else come election time, start looking for a new job.
And that's all the speakers on that matter.
On item 6A,
Now, we were on 5.
okay,
Now we go to 6A.
okay. Call the speakers.
Okay,
up.
and the
6A.
speakers are, I'll do 2 at a time. Steve Grammer and Lawrence Morgan.
And Mayor, we need to open the public hearing for hearing of citizens regarding the recommended fiscal year budget for 22-23.
All right, the fiscal year 2022-23, we will open the public hearing at this time. And the clerk will call on those speakers who signed up to speak in this item. Do we have a mic? Yeah.
My name is Steve Grammer. My address is 1817 Westview Avenue, Roanoke, Virginia 24016. As you know, public transportation has many issues for people with disabilities, such as the last pickup is 8:15 p.m., Also, we are not able to see a doctor on the same day if we are sick. Additionally, buses do not run on Sundays. Plus, most of the time when we board the bus, we have to make a very tight turn in a wheelchair. The Americans with Disabilities Act states that people with disabilities are supposed to live in the least restrictive environment possible. How can we do this under these conditions? Instead of saying the money isn't ever in the budget to fix these issues, it's time to budget appropriately while keeping the disabled community in mind, so we can have a life like yours. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Oh,
Also, the ADA states people with disabilities are supposed to live in the least restrictive environment possible. How can we do that when the only housing options are in high crime areas or retirement communities? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Morgan. I live at 1306 Bel Air Lane, Southwest, Roanoke, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, when I got my reassessment on my house, I was flabbergasted. First of all, I don't follow real estate, but a 12.5% tax increase in my case is the largest single tax increase of any kind I've ever experienced in my life. We chose to move here from the county in 2009. Now we feel like maybe we are being punished for making that choice. So, but this isn't just about me. You've heard from others, but let's put it into some perspective here. Roanoke City residents have been hit with a triple whammy. First was the pandemic, it's disrupted lives and personal finances, and it's not over. Next came the worst inflation in many years. And now we're being asked to absorb a huge increase in our real estate tax. Let's put this into perspective a little bit. The real estate tax portion of the budget in 2006, 2007 was 37%. Those property taxes paid for 37% of the budget. The proposed budget, it has risen to 44% of the budget. That's a huge increase. Not only that, but the bulk of that increase, 4%, has occurred in the last 3 budgets. That means that curve's on its way up. It's not this, it's this. There's a hook or a hockey stick in that curve. So, but Roanoke doesn't live in a vacuum. Area and statewide, we are number 1 in taxes. Roanoke City has the highest real estate tax rate in the area and one of the highest in the states. Add in the trash collection fee, the stormwater management fee, and the new plastic grocery bag fee, and Roanoke City is the most expensive place to live in the area by a large margin. This high cost of living or doing business in Roanoke discourages people from living or doing business here. Simply put, you cannot tax your way to prosperity. And that's a lesson that we all should have learned by now. So what do I want? I would like to see the tax rate, real estate tax rate rolled back. Roanoke County has done it. I think the city can do it as well. You can show your citizens that you care about us by doing that. Or you can keep and spend the entire windfall, which sends a message too, a different message. It's your choice, but we all live with consequences.
The next speakers, Ashley Curtis and Kristen Strail.
Hello. First, I'd like to thank you for letting me speak. My name's Ashley Curtis, and I'm a college student at Roanoke College. I am also a resident in Cave Spring, and I am speaking today on the importance of buses. Speaking on behalf of college students, I would like to emphasize the importance of public transportation has on our community. First of all, I'd like to say that some of the bus stations don't have a sidewalk, so citizens have to stand on the side of the road, creating potentially dangerous situations. And I know sometimes sidewalks aren't possible, but I recommended that they be at least considered. And I think I can speak on behalf of all college students that many of us have jobs and internships that are located here in the city. And as we know, the bus only runs until 8 p.m. and not on Sundays. And not only for college students, but for all, I think I can say that it would be beneficial for hours to at least be extended, and that buses arrive every half hour rather than every hour. And that the bus should run on Sundays. And not only do buses help us arrive at our destination, but they also foster a sense of community. So I request that the budget include hiring more bus drivers in order to extend hours, and also that adding sidewalks be considered. Thank you.
Drew Abel and Baraka Kasanga.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kristen Straley. I'm a visiting assistant professor at Holland University and the co-director of the university's Small Cities Institute. My comments tonight are my own. Vision 2040 clearly outlines the importance of tree stewardship within its ambitious plan, citing its commitment to protecting, nurturing, and expanding the tree canopy. I'd like to thank the council for increasing the urban forestry budget. It's a laudable step, but I urge the council to fully restore the department so they can meet the plan's goals. The city of Roanoke itself has already acknowledged why we must urgently invest in trees as we experience rising temperatures and increased pressure from storm runoff water. Planting trees, the right tree in the right place, is well studied and cost effective, providing long-term benefits such as protecting residents from heat-related illnesses and relieving pressure on emergency response systems. I asked the city to act on the 30,000 data points gathered by residents for the Office of Sustainability. Citizen scientists mapped the heat island effect and found a variation in temperature of 15 degrees across the city, with temperatures highest in downtown and low-income neighborhoods. The study proves what many already know, that urban heat is not experienced equitably. These results are consonant with powerful tools like the Tree Equity Score, which interweaves factors like race, poverty level, and age with canopy cover. Raleigh Court, Granite Court, Crystal Spring score in the 90s, 100. Low-income neighborhoods are more likely to lack trees and central air, and plug-in units and fans are expensive, inefficient, and do not address the systemic lack of investment in green infrastructure. Melrose has 12% canopy cover, Hurt Park 8%, where up to 75% of residents live in poverty. Not every community wants improvement projects foisted upon them, for good reasons, and a project of this scale needs widespread community buy-in. In Philly, I volunteered as a grant writer for the Philadelphia Orchard Project, which has planted over 66 orchards, including over 1,500 trees and over 3,600 fruiting shrubs and vines. Residents steward these orchards themselves with a lot of support. They pick out plantings, they care for and harvest their bounty with crop support. And here in Roanoke, we know that over 16% of Roanokers live with food insecurity. Increasing the canopy could also mean creating access to local healthy food supported by the community, and I'm thinking to refugee communities who are looking for a connection with home. How lovely to imagine this city, which has welcomed me for the past year, such a lush climate, and I just imagine residents growing cherries, pawpaws, apples, walnuts, hazelnuts. I've seen it happen in Philly, and it's just incredible. The opportunity for locally supported pocket orchards is plentiful here, and it would help honor the commitment to increasing canopy growth while providing recreation, fresh produce, intergenerational learning, and natural delight and beauty. I urge creative action to address the data gathered by residents and to create a healthier Roanoke that we all know is possible. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Good evening, Mayor Lee, honorable members of council. My name is Drew Abel, and I'm here today to speak to you as a member of the Roanoke Firefighters Association. When the citizens of Roanoke need help, they call 911 and we respond. Today, it is the firefighters that need help, and we are asking you to respond. I last spoke to council in August of 2018. Many of you were present that day. This last occasion was the uncertain fate of Firehouse Number 7. Facing objection from the citizens you serve in the powerful Historical Preservation Society, this opposition boiled over into a media frenzy that concluded in testimony from each side supporting their argument. You truly listened to the firefighters. You heard what we had to say. You supported us, and for that, we are grateful. The tangible product of your valued support is a magnificent firehouse providing first-rate fire and emergency medical services. The intangible result was a workforce feeling appreciated and inspired by the city's leadership. The issue we face today is not brick and mortar. Rather, it is human capital. The fire EMS department is bleeding. We are losing employees at an alarming rate. Many have fewer than 3 years of service and are contractually obligated to reimburse the city up to $15,000, yet they are still leaving. Worse yet, we're struggling to hire. I've been at the forefront of a renewed effort to recruit candidates since 2009. While a measurable amount of success was enjoyed initially, our department has faced a consistently dwindling pool of applicants. Ladies and gentlemen of council, I humbly ask that you listen intently to my colleagues' concerns, just as you did 4 years ago. We regret that our apprehension has led us to your chambers. However, just as we stand ready to answer the citizens' calls for help, we ask that you answer our call. Thank you.
My name is Baraka Kasongo. I appreciate the opportunity, Mayor Lee, members of City Council. I both live and work in the city of Roanoke. I'm here today as a member of the Fire EMS Department. The single or number one issue that I want to address you with is lack of equity in our compensation plan. Now, I am very much aware of how much efforts and the good intentions that our city management have extended toward this effort. A lot of energy, a lot of time, enormous efforts have been extended to make sure that this budget that was proposed would be equitable. However, a missed opportunity has occurred in the Fire EMS compensation plan. And it's so large that it affects our morale, it affects our ability to recruit, it affects our ability to retain the personnel that we currently have, as you have just recently heard. Now, let me speak a little bit about this equity dilemma that we find ourselves in. A hallmark of equity is the ability to include the people that you're trying to affect. Inclusion is a core value that we have in the city of Roanoke. And yet, the Fire EMS department was not included at all in the decisions that led to the budget that has just been proposed, even though we made numerous efforts to share our concerns to this budget, that the step 2 that we have just been introduced to, that was shared last year. And we expressed a number of concerns to the compression issues that would result if this were implemented. Of course, unfortunately, that has went unanswered. Second, it must be noted, and I know Mayor Lee mentions this all the time, we're a 7-time All-American city. Well, in such a city, the Fire EMS department, in the most recent survey, we scored the highest of all departments in our satisfaction ratings. 96 for fire suppression, 95 for EMS. Highest of all departments here. Second, we're only one of 8 departments in the state of Virginia that hold an international accreditation and ISO 1. So you ask yourself, in such an organization where we say and truly believe and have all the good intentions from our leadership team, is this really where employees that work here in such a department with caliber of people that have given so much as expressed throughout COVID-19, where our greatest assets are having to do with all of these inequities? I would ask that you, members of the City Council, reevaluate this. 2 more speakers will speak on the disparities that we are experiencing and the consequences that are resulting because of this proposed budget. And it is my hope that you give this your undivided attention and hopefully not allow the proposed budget to continue as it stands.
Chad Riddleberger and Andy Foley.
I'm actually Andy Foley, so I'm going to go first if that's fine. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm here to talk about the implementation of the plan, which is told to us is going to be implemented by time and grade. What that happens is basically, I'm going to give you examples. We have a captain and a lieutenant, both hired the same date, promoted to lieutenant within 1 year of each other. By the time this plan is going to be implemented, that lieutenant is going to make $4,500 more than that captain. That captain is 2 pay grades above that lieutenant. Next example, we look at a captain and a firefighter paramedic. These individuals are actually hired within 2 months of each other. After the implementation of this plan, that firefighter paramedic is actually going to make $4,500 more than that captain. Now again, tenures within 2 months, captain's 3 pay grades above, but he's going to make less than that firefighter paramedic. Next is a battalion chief, a first lieutenant, and a firefighter intermediate. All 3 of these individuals went through the same rookie school. One goes to battalion chief, one goes to first lieutenant, one stays a firefighter. This battalion chief is going to make $12,000 more than this intermediate. Yes, that's a substantial amount of money, but it's a 5 pay grade difference. The shocking thing is that the first lieutenant is actually going to make $8,000 less than that firefighter intermediate. Same rookie school. And this assumes that those battalions and the first lieutenant get that 5% pay increase that has been talked about. You're going to hear from a battalion tonight that actually cost himself $5,000 by taking a promotion if it's implemented as planned. So basically, the way we look at this is going to affect over 40% of our organization. Basically, if our members were to take a promotion right now or they were recently promoted, they actually cost themselves money. And some of them well over $10,000. So that's a substantial loss of money on their end to actually take a promotion and better the city. We as an organization feel like we have a plan that is equitable to everybody in the organization, and we love to present that to you at a later time if you would like. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to allow me to come and speak. I'm Chad Riddleberger, Battalion Chief for Roanoke Fire and EMS. I feel I've been drawn here this evening to draw some light upon the proposed city budget. I was promoted Battalion Chief a little less than a year ago. I currently have 26 years of service and function as an operational battalion. Within this role comes much responsibility and loyalty to the city that trusts your ability to lead. I have been a 10-year captain before promotion and knew that I would not benefit financially from my promotion based on the recommended step plan and the compression that was already within the battalion ranks. However, I still took my leap of faith. I put my leadership abilities, out in front of my financial needs. That's considered trust. I now stand here and I can factually tell you I made less this past year as a battalion chief than I have in the last 4 years as a captain. What is this? This is certainly becomes an unappealing on two different avenues. First, seniority and leadership personnel are and will be leaving for other job opportunities. I'm one of them. I will be leaving the city effectively June 1st of this year for a job that's going to provide me and my family growth through personal, professional, and financial stability. Secondly, the incentive for future captains that are going to come into the role for greater leadership roles. With greater responsibility should come with the incentive and reward for proper compensation. These two items draw me now to our city's mission statement and core values. Our mission statement states this, just the first sentence, to foster a diverse, inclusive, and an innovative workforce. I draw on innovation. There must be a consistent, constant, and vigilant pursuit to keep employees satisfied personally, professionally, and financially. If this is not achieved, that innovative workforce will look elsewhere. Lastly, this brings me to our city core values. Let me reflect on responsibility and teamwork. Number one, responsibility. This is to do the correct actions regarding equal and fair compensation for all public safety employees. Secondly is teamwork. Public safety is built on teamwork. We have a trust in each other to work together and believe our supporters want to treat us fairly and equitably. I would like to take this time to conclude this evening with a request to make all public safety pay equal and fair. Please, I invite you to come and sit at the table with us and listen to our proposals. God bless every one of you in your decision, and may God bless every single one of our public safety personnel.
Our next speakers, Kathleen Wooley and Chris Bryant.
Hello, and thank you all for seeing me here today. I am actually moving to Roanoke come May after I graduate college. But where I'm moving from, I didn't need a car. But here in Roanoke, that isn't necessarily true. While your public transit system is better than some, it's insufficient for people who may want to rely on it for the majority of their transportation needs. Currently, Valley Metro's ordinary bus service, not counting the SmartWay, is hourly. This means that if I have an appointment downtown, I have to take whichever bus takes me there within the hour. This can mean, on occasions, me arriving a full 45 minutes before I actually need to be at my appointment. This may not sound like a significant issue. 45 minutes is a small part of everybody's day. But I invite you now to do the math with me. If I need to visit downtown Roanoke for a half-hour job interview, that's 10 minutes away from where I am to downtown. And we have to account for both directions, which turns a half-hour meeting into a 50-minute commitment. Now consider I also have to wait for the bus. Assuming I'm in a good time slot that works well with the bus, we can conservatively say that'll be another 10 minutes each way. Now we're at an hour and 10 minutes for a half-hour job interview. Furthermore, if my bus arrives downtown on the hour and my interview is on the half hour, that's another 30 minutes that I have to plan for out of my day. If all goes well and my interview doesn't run over, and I take the very next bus home, that is a full hour and 40 minutes that I need to take out of my day for a half-hour meeting. In a best scenario, that more than triples the amount of time I need to go about my business, time that I could spend working, shopping, or childcare. Maintaining a car is a huge cost, especially for families that have just relocated. In Roanoke, new households need to weigh the financial burden against their loss of time when they move here. And for some families, that isn't even a question. Whether it's due to physical disability, financial capability, or personal choice, many Americans don't or can't drive. I urge you to consider further funding Roanoke, Salem, and Vinton bus system. The bus service particularly needs to be more frequent. Not only is it important to newcomers and visitors, but it would increase the quality of life for the people who already live here. I invite you to imagine a Roanoke where citizens know they can rely on your public transit system. It would be a boon not only to the individual, but to businesses that people can now access more casually. Workers can get to their jobs without worrying that their bus being late will get them in trouble. Shoppers can get downtown with ease and might go there for more fun-filled nights. Increasing bus frequency could help bring together a Roanoke as a thriving and resilient community that we all know it can be. I want more people to move here because when I moved here, I fell in love with the city. I'd like other people to have that same experience too. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Chris Bryant, and I'm a longtime resident of the city of Roanoke. I have reviewed the documents, the budget document, and saw concepts like sustainability, resiliency, integrity of our region's environment, and providing the green infrastructure to facilitate clear air, land, and water, and providing a safe and attractive environment for street users, cars, and pedestrians alike. I have reviewed the Heat Island Index Study and the city's comprehensive plans, old and new. Little progress has been made in the green infrastructure goals. The importance of parks, trees, and greenways were covered in the plans, but the city's commitment to these areas has not been supported in the budget, especially in the urban forestry. I know the city can't do the entire task for the environment. We need to keep a over 40% canopy cover in the city and increase tree cover in those areas of the city suffering from the highest heat index, and to keep the air cleaner. But a lot of the areas of the city lacking in the cover are commercial spaces, businesses, and apartments. To prevent further degradation of our green spaces, the city needs to tighten building codes and planning commission requirements to include the protection of certain percentages of existing trees on construction sites, require replacement of trees that are taken down, and a minimum requirement of canopy land greenscaping, especially in new parking lots. And also require riparian buffer widths along streams for cleaner water, as other cities have done in their building requirements. The air we, the air we breathe is cleaner and is cleaned and is cooled by trees. Stormwater is purified and managed by trees. Our carbon footprint is reduced by trees. We can save on the budget if in the long run we can take care of the trees we already have by giving urban forestry an adequate staff and also having trees supportive commercial building requirements. Thank you. That was the last speaker on that matter.
All right, so we will close the public hearing and move to 6B.
Yes.
Which is the proposed real estate tax increase, and I will open the public hearing.
Our first speaker will be Brenda Hale.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and all of the city council members. Please bear in mind, I could not jump up like popcorn on item 5, 6A, and 6B. There was no item that let me check off speaking on all of the fiscal entities tonight. So I bring you fiscal injustices. That's what I would like to talk about at this moment. We at the Roanoke branch in AACP ask for reasonable consideration be given to the citizens of this great city regarding a financial hardship that they would incur with an increased tax on them now. And we're speaking 2021, 2022, and 2023. Folks, all of us have endured struggles and financial setbacks during this COVID-19 pandemic. The most severely affected are the low and middle class citizens. Families, even to this day, can't keep food on the table, medications in their systems, making them being in a non-therapeutic state. Please appreciate, they just don't have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They can't even be met by so many in this community. We ask that you reevaluate the burden on the majority before a final decision is rendered. Let the help start here at home. This is my home. I was born here December the 22nd, 1945 at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's why I'm a night person. But the thing of the matter is, this is our home. Home to 100,000 plus individuals. We must take care of home before we can take care of others. Just like every individual has to take care of themselves before they can help others. That's why I couldn't keep jumping up and down tonight. The thing is, we have definitive needs here in this community. I know deep down in your hearts, you don't want to see the already compromised citizen hurt further. That's not the purpose. Oh my God, see, I'm slower by the moment. But thank you for allowing me the privilege to come up. And please, I thank you in advance for considerations of our compromised citizens in our great city. Thank you so much.
And that was all the speakers I have signed up tonight.
Okay. Well, we'll close the public hearing. And I want to make a note, the city council will adopt the recommended FY 2022-2023 budget along with other related measures and consider actions with respect to the proposed real estate tax increase during the city council meeting on Monday, May 9th at 2:00 p.m. All right? There being no further business to come before the council tonight, this recess meeting is hereby adjourned.
WVTW Charlottesville, WVTR Marion, WISC-FM Wise, WQIQ Spotsylvania, WIQR Lexington, WEHC Emory, WLUR Lexington, and in Richmond on 92.5 and Fredericksburg on 94.9. Radio IQ, a service of Virginia Tech.
This is the TED Radio Hour. Each week,